Kamala and I went on a very similar journey. You know, her getting her powers and me getting this part definitely went hand in hand. The entire journey of self-discovery and identity and reconnecting with your roots. I experienced so much and I learned so much just filming the show. I'm constantly dreaming. It's the only thing I've ever wanted in life, and I have it now, and I don't know what to do with myself. Let's be honest, it's not really the brown girls from Jersey City who save the world.
Sure they do.
This is really the story of a young immigrant girl trying to find her identity in the world. And so what was that like for you? And did you feel like that was also just a super relatable thing for you as well?
It was really relatable. I honestly felt quite disconnected from my culture growing up. I was really dismissive about, you know, my Pakistani roots and being Muslim. I just didn't think it was honestly cool because I was so obsessed and enamored by American pop culture and Hollywood, and those two things just never went hand in hand. I didn't like the Bollywood movies I was watching growing up, and I just thought it was so embarrassing. And now here I am in Hollywood working with just an insane amount of women and people of color and Muslims and South Asians, and they are so in touch with their culture, and it just really made me kind of be so appreciative of that and see the beauty and see how these people are so cool and they can be in touch with their culture and they can have like the greatest jobs in the world. I can do that too.
What I wasn't prepared for was just how meaningful it would be to work with an all South Asian cast and tell a story that felt so similar to not just my story, but the story of so many people I know, the story of just being caught between the expectation that's set for you and the thing that you really want to do. I mean, that is something I very much related to, and I think it's a thing that most people can relate to. Dealing with having a big, active imagination in a world that's telling you that, you know, well, that's not realistic.
How exactly will you be dressed?
As Captain Marvel.
Huh?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel, astaghfirullah.
There was like a shorthand to the way that we were communicating with one another. It was just very easy, and also we could be very honest and frank with each other and just be like, does this make sense? You think this is controversial or not? And I think that shorthand is something that really helped to make the entire process a lot smoother and also just a lot of fun because we could throw in, you know, I don't know, sometimes some random crazy like South Asian music that only some of us knew and we got into and were very excited about. So it certainly helped to have all of those different voices bring their own authentic experiences to the table.
Her powers, there's been a lot of discussion about how they manifest in the show. Like, you know, she doesn't get the super-sized hand per se.
Kevin wanted to do an adaptation of the powers, so not a literal translation of the comic books. And obviously, you know, the producers were also looking for her place in the wider MCU connected with other movies and potentially other TV shows. In the script, it was only described as like hard light. It was not really that detailed, so we developed it together with the producers and the VFX team. We liked the powers of the comic very much, so we still wanted to have a kind of homage or reference to it. So that's why there is a version of embiggened hands, only it's with that light effect that you see in the pilot. And you have still that body changing, which is also, you know, the story of the teenagers whose body is changing.
Cosmic.
In spirits, you have the same ideas of the comic book, but maybe there's a variant of Kamala Khan in the multiverse who has exactly the same powers. Who knows? Who knows?
In episode 2, we toyed a lot with just different ideas because we weren't sure where we were going to land. And since episode 2 is very much about her figuring it out, it felt like the right approach, that we were just going to try a bunch of stuff, have her like shoot her hand out and kind of make all kinds of different gestures in different directions and trip over things and tell that story of a girl trying to figure this thing out, because we were trying to figure it out, you know?
I can't do a single normal teenage thing in this house, right?
Come on, beta, you're not normal.
Oh!
But I meant you're special.
What's it like for Yusuf raising this daughter who is strong-willed and is obsessed with superheroes and is, you know, kind of rebellious a little bit?
He's all for anything that she wants. He just dotes on his family and mainly on Kamala because she's the second child that happened after a very long gap, Amir being the first. Muniba is the one that puts probably father and daughter on track.
You do trust me, right?
No, I don't trust you.
Of course she does.
No, I don't. I think she's protecting her from a lot of things. I think she's protecting her from herself. She thinks Muniba thinks she's too much in this fantasy world, but then she's protecting her from other things that I can't tell you about. That is jump.
Kamala is definitely a lot smarter than Amir, but Amir doesn't believe that.
Right.
Amir thinks,
He's very smart.
hey, I'm older, so I'm smarter. She knows how to play him. He cares about her, he wants to protect her, but she doesn't need the protecting.
I'll talk to them.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you look kind of pathetic.
Thank you.
So she'll like let him believe he's doing his job while going around doing whatever she wanted to do.
I wanted to start with Nakia's relationship with Kamala because she was described as Kamala's kind of superhero because she is proud of who she is and where she comes from.
I have loved Nakia as a character for so long, and being able to play such a strong and vocal character who is opinionated and not afraid to say that and be sarcastic and poke around with her friends and just be super sure of who she is so important for, obviously for Kamala to see in her journey and feel more comfortable with herself, but also hopefully so many young viewers see such a young girl feel strong and sure of herself and confident. It's extremely important and something that I wish that I watched growing up.
We're high-fiving in slow motion.
Let's talk about Bruno. He is Kamala's best friend, but he seems really handy.
Are those photon gloves?
Yeah. Do you want them? Or?
Yes.
He's a genius, high IQ, and he lives on top of Circle Q. He's got his little spot. He loves building stuff. He's an inventor. He loves doing that type of stuff and anything to help Kamala or, the people he loves.
And for Rish, Cameron is mysterious and handsome and has an eye for Kamala.
He's definitely the new boy in town and immediately kind of shakes up all of the dynamics and the relationships that she already has with Bruno, for example, when she's meant to be focusing on her training and stuff. And it's not like he comes in and he just hits it off with Kamala, and they can relate on a level that I think she hasn't before with other people when it comes to just sharing her culture and being able to code switch with him and being able to talk about Bollywood films. And there is mystery to him, I agree, and we'll have to wait and see where it goes from there.